government shutdown. Well, for more on this, we can speak to Ahmed Rehab. He's the executive director of the Council on American Islamic Relations. Why do you think what do you think Republicans were trying to do here?
Well, I think Senator Marco Rubio and the Republicans that support this bill were trying to sort of sneak it in, or rather ram it down during the government shutdown in order to force the hand of the Democrats to engage in voting, to engage in parliamentary activity during the shutdown, and therefore force the shutdown to not look like a shutdown, because obviously it is a Trump shutdown.
And how much of this do you think is symbolic in nature to reassure Israel, which of course, as we know, is a key U.S. ally?
Well, I think that for many members of the Senate and the House, AIPAC is a force of nature, the most powerful lobby in the United States of America that is able to essentially dictate the policy on how the United States approaches the issue of Israel, has backed this bill. And this bill is extremely problematic because on one hand, it has this blind support for the actions of a foreign government that engages in apartheid, that engages in abuses of human rights abuses. And on the other hand, it basically does away with our own constitutional rights, our own freedom of speech here in America against American citizens. Basically, regardless of how you feel about BDS, whether you support it or not, one should understand that the right to engage in BDS is a constitutionally protected right, that Americans have the freedom of expression, including political expression. And so when you have bills that dictate that states who legislate laws to punish citizens for practicing that right should be protected against lawsuits, then you're siding with the wrong side. You should be siding with the American people and their protected freedoms, constitutionally protected freedoms.
And of course, there are already measures taken by states to prevent boycotting Israel. But what does it mean in terms of the right to protest and freedom of speech?
It chills freedom of speech and the right to protest, which is a fundamentally American right. This is not about how you feel about Israel or Denmark or Bangladesh. This is about our American Constitution and the values that it enshrines, including the freedom that citizens have in this country to express themselves politically or otherwise. And so when you have government beginning to legislate in order to punish and boycott private citizens and institutions that practice this fundamental American right, you have a real undermining of the American Constitution. So, it's really shameful and shocking that senators of the United States of America would be engaging and pummeling down this kind of bill that basically chills the rights of Americans, and for the benefit of what? An apartheid regime that is engaging in occupation. It used to be that the message was, look, we're only against violent resistance to the Israeli human rights abuses. But now you have a movement that is essentially entirely peaceful, and it's still being treated as a criminal movement, and there's still an attempt to criminalize that peaceful, free movement to push back against apartheid and human rights abuses.
All right, Ahmed Rehab with the Council on American Islamic Relations. Appreciate you being with us.